Hi ladies, welcome to day 5 of the Bible study. Today we're going to be talking about dependence on God. So when we think about the word dependence, we think about relying on something or someone. I believe dependence and trust go hand in hand. So trust is a belief in the reliability, strength, value of something or someone. So when we say trusting in God or depending on God, we really have to think about if we believe in the reliability of God and His ability to really help us. If our belief is a little shaky and we think about, oh, I'm not sure if God can help me, then we are less likely to depend on Him because we're not truly believing that He could come through. I just wanted to emphasize on how trust and depending on God goes hand in hand. If we trust and we believe in God and His abilities, and we can rely on Him and knowing that He's going to come through, then we are more likely to depend on Him. I believe when we think about depending on God, we think about Him providing for us. But I wanted to share some other ways we can depend on God for, other than just His resources and providing for us, like physical things. We also can depend on God for emotional strength, peace. We rely on Him for comfort. We can rely on Him for our salvation, and also we rely on Him for guidance and wisdom with our everyday situations. Now, Jesus taught us as well to depend on God, and He kind of gives us an example when He shows us how to pray. In the Bible, when Jesus recites the Lord's Prayer, He even says, "Give us this day our daily bread." He doesn't say, "Give us our bread for a lifetime." It was bread to specifically last this day. Now, this statement is kind of a call for dependence on the Lord. It's a call away from self-sufficiency and turning ourselves to rely and depend on God for our daily needs. I know we want to feel like we're in control all of the time and rely on our own resources, but we can't forget that we are depending on God for all of those things ultimately. There are several stories in the Bible where Jesus shows His dependence on the Father. A lot of those stories come before a big event or a miracle, or even before He chose His disciples. He would always go to the mountaintop, or He would always retreat to go and pray. As we read these stories, it's a sweet reminder that even Jesus depended on the Father for several things, and so should we. Another way to think about dependence on God is thinking about the word surrendering. When we surrender, we're kind of like doing an act of depending on God. When you surrender something over or you surrender to someone, you are, in a sense, relying on them to take care of you, to guide you, to take things over, for your benefit. And so sometimes we have to think about what is something in my life that I need to be depending on God more of, or surrendering over our control. Depending on God starts in the mind. Like I said before, it's about that trust. It's about that belief. Do we really believe that He's going to come through for us? Do we really believe in His abilities? Sometimes we also believe that He can come through, but sometimes we feel unworthy of it. And that's where the enemy steps in and tries to put those lies into your mind, thinking like, well, you're not doing so great, so why is God going to come through for you? We have to remember that in the Bible, God says that He is faithful, even though we aren't faithful. So I challenge you to think about the different areas of your life where you feel like you need to surrender or depend on God more. What is one area of your life where you're depending on God's guidance? What is one area of your life where you're in need or depending on God's comfort and peace? As you go through the worksheet, I want you to be honest with yourself. I know it's hard to sometimes write things down, and sometimes you may feel a little shameful or feeling like, man, I don't want to be this person. But in order to grow, we have to expose the things that we need to expose. And in this case is going down deep and thinking, okay, what is something that I need more guidance of? Just like in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. And acknowledging Him can be seen as depending on Him, relying on His guidance. And so I want to challenge you to do that. I hope you're enjoying the Bible study this far, and we're almost done. I really enjoyed this journey, and I hope you guys are getting the best out of it and are really finding it helpful. I will see you tomorrow.